meant for women. Legal rights which are guaranteed for women. The government of India, um, taking the constitution into account, has, in order to increase the status of women, they have passed on various labor laws, criminal laws, family laws, as well as other civil laws, my dear friends. Let us discuss about labor laws. In the labor laws, the first thing was Maternity Benefit Act of 1961. The Equal Remuneration Act was passed in order to in order to uh, provide equal payment for the women uh, during the International Women's Year. This act was provided for payment of equal remuneration on par with the men, equal wages for both men and women. Along with this, my dear friends, they also said that it is our duty to provide minimum leave for the mother so that she can take care of her health and also she can take care of the child, my dear friends. That's the reason why this Maternity Benefit Act of 1961 was passed, my dear friends. In the year 1986, the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act was passed. The act was passed to guarantee the rights and entitlements of children. There are certain laws which are general laws, but they can also concern or related with the women, my dear friends. That is the Workmen Compensation Act of 1923, the Minimum Wage Act of 1948, the Contract Labor System Abolition Act of 1976, the Interstate Migrant Workers Act of 1979, the Factories Act of 1948, the Employee State Insurance Act of 1948, the Plantation Labor Act of 1951, and so on. All these acts, my dear friends, they may be general, but it also has taken the woman into consideration while forming the laws, my dear friends. Some of the criminal laws included relevant provisions in the IPC, Indian Penal Code of 1960. According to 292 of the penal IPC, they say that sale, etc. of obscene books. That means we need to stop the sales of the obscene books because it may motivate some of the people to molest the woman or else eve teasing or it may create any trouble. For that reason, the section has been brought. And section 228A talks about punishment for disclosure of identity of victims of certain offenses like rape. Because if a girl is raped and if her identity has been revealed, there are chances that none of the members in the society may honor the lady or respect her, and no one may come forward. They may feel pity or else they may make fun out of that lady. For that reason, they said that we must not provide the identity of the rape victim, my dear friends. 294, section 294 of the IPC talks about obscene acts or songs. If any person is going to behave or show any obscene things, or if they are going to sing any songs of obscene like, they can be punished. Article 354 of the IPC talks about outraging the modesty of a woman. Article 509 talks about words, gestures, or act intended to insult the modesty of the woman. Article 376 talks about rape. That means, according to this article of the IPC, a person who has raped can be punished, my dear friends. Article 304 or B, it talks about dowry debts. 361, kidnapping from unlawful or from lawful guardianship. 363 talks about punishment for kidnapping. 366A talks about procreation of a minor girl. Means if any person is going to impregnate a child, a girl child, a minor girl child. So under this article 366A of IPC, that person can also be punished, my dear friends. Article 366 talks about kidnapping, abducting a woman to compel her to go for marriage with that person. So according to Article 366 of IPC, the people can be punished. According to 366 Clause B, It talks about importation of girls from a foreign country. That means we talk about human trafficking. Without her consent, if you are going to forcibly shift the girl from one nation to the other girl, migrate the girl from one country to the other country, like, then we can punish the person under Article 366B of IPC. According to Section 372, according to Section 372 of IPC, it says that selling a minor for the purpose of prostitution, under this, they can punish them. And according to Section 373 of IPC, buying a minor for the purpose of the prostitution is also treated as a crime. And according to Section 498A, cruelty by husband, cruelty by husband is also can also be punished, my dear friends. So these are the certain sections under IPC, under Criminal Act, my dear friends. So these are the provisions provided for the girl in order to safeguard her modesty, safeguard the interest of the woman, and also safeguard her from each and every arena. Then we have the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act of 1986. Uh, this suppression of immoral traffic of women and girls act was passed to punish brothel keepers, pimps, and other people who are related to this profession, and also prevent prostitution in public spheres. In the year 1978, this act was amended, and in the year 1986, the act was renamed as the Immoral Trafficking Prevention Act. So we can see that every year we can see across 10 million people, uh, around 10 million people are missing across the world. We don't know if it may be boy or it may be girl, but all these people, what is happening to them is a mystery. A lot of people may be used, the girls may be used or boys can be used in prostitution, or else they may be killed and their vital organs can be sold in the market, or else they may be handicapped and they may be used to sell drugs, or they may be used in making begging, my dear friends. It can happen anything. Almost thousands and thousands of women and children across the world are missing, and they are transported from one nation to the other nation, and especially they are traded for prostitution. In order to stop this, my dear friends, the government of India in the year 1956, they have brought this Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act, trafficking of women and girls, and later on they have amended this in the year 1978, my dear friends. So their main intention is to protect the girl child and the woman from falling prey to prostitution and from illegally being transported from one part of the country to the other part of the country, or from our nation to different parts of the world, my dear friends. If we see almost a decade back, not even a decade back, around 6 years back, there was a ship which was coming towards Thailand, and the naval police of Thailand has stopped the ship, and they entered into the ship and they saw that there are 400 dead bodies. And when they have done the investigation, when they have done the post-mortem, they came to know that all the vital organs which are there in the 400 bodies were missing, like heart, liver, kidneys, and so on. There is a greater demand for these organs in the market, and all the 400 dead bodies in this, the vital organs were missing, my dear friends. The same way, people can be either forced into prostitution, or else they may be killed and their organs may be sold in the market, my dear friends. The second is the Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. This act was passed in the year 1961 in order to punish anyone who is going to give dowry or who is taking dowry, my dear friends. So this even giving dowry and accepting dowry is treated as a crime, my dear friends. So if the police comes to know, or if any person is going to lodge a complaint, both the parents, girls' parents and the boys' parents, brides and grooms' parents, along with bride and groom, also can be punished. There can be punishment of financial, payment of punishment, and 6 months imprisonment also. It may be 20,000 to that of 6 months imprisonment also. This act was amended in the year 1984, and again in the year 1986 to make it more stringent so that we can control the problem of this dowry. Most of the girls, because they are not in a position to pay the dowry, huge dowries, some of the girls are not getting married. And even after marriage, my dear friends, and even after getting married, sometimes they are being ill treated by the husband and in-laws in order to get extra dowry, my dear friends. So in order to get rid of this issue, the government has brought this Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. The next one is the Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act of 1986. This responds to the public protest against the way the media is projecting the women. They are going to project the women with mini skirts in a degrading or undignified way. And further reason, the parliament has passed the act, Indecent Representation of Women Act, in the year 1986. At the same time, we also have problem like child marriages in the country. In order to stop this, the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929 came into existence. So this bill was passed to stop or ban child marriages, especially the girl child marriages. This act of 1929 was amended in the year 1976, and they have made a minimum legal age for marriage for girls, which was raised to 18 years in order to protect them from the stress and strain of marriage and family care, my dear friends. Before that, most of the girls, before they attain the age of a stipulated age, they were forced to go for marriage. And just because of the child marriages, do you know what happened? Most of the women have become widows because the elder people used to marry the young girl, and when the elder people expired, these girls are widows. And in India, widows do not have the option to go for second marriage, even though we can see plenty of social reform movements across the country. Even then, because of the patriarchal system, because of conservatism, my dear friends, most of the widows, they did not get the option to go for marriages, second marriages. So they were forced to lead the entire life. Do you know what was the condition of these girls? They have neatly shaved the head. That means they are being deprived from the beauty. No bindi. They're not going to put on the brightful color saris like they are supposed to put on only white color saris. No spicy food. They are supposed to sleep on the bare floor, and they're not supposed to come to the auspicious occasions, even to the religious gatherings. And if any person is going on some activity, and if they are going to see the face of the widow, they think that their activity will not be accomplished. Seeing the face of the widow was treated as unauspicious. So the widow was forced to stay within the four walls. That was the condition of women. And in some parts of the country, my dear friends, we also have the system of sati. If the husband expires, even the young woman was supposed to sit on the dead body of the husband and they were burned alive, my dear friends. So this kind of system was there. So in order to stop all these issues, in order to ensure that the girl is physically grown, and in order to ensure that the girl can be educated, the only solution was to bring a law, and that was the Child Marriage Restraint Act, which was passed in the year 1929 by the Britishers, and later on in the independent India in the year 1976, it was amended and the age for marriage was increased to 18 years, my dear friends. Then we also have the Commission of Sati Prevention Act of 1987. The government has passed on the Sati Prevention Act in the year 1987, when Sati occurred in Durala in the year 1987, when a young woman, Rup Kanwar, committed Sati. This act, while penalizing the glorification of sati, treats the act as suicide, the responsibility on the woman. So actually, this was there from the from generations together. But if the girl has gone on her own, okay, well and fine. But if a girl is forced, then it is a problem. In order to protect the life of the woman, the government has passed on this. Then we also have family laws like Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. 1955. In this, they have brought four concepts. One is that both the boy and girl, the marriage has to be based on the consent of both the boy and girl. We cannot force either the boy and girl to go for marriage, my dear friends. First one. Second one, intercaste marriages are also accepted. Third one is that the age for the girl and boy was fixed to be 18 and 21. At the time when they brought it, it was 16 and 18. Later on, it has been amended and increased the age for 18 to 21. And they also said for the first time in the history of Hindu marriage, they brought the concept of divorce. If a boy and girl do not wish to continue their relations, then they can also initiate the divorce, my dear friends. So these were the laws which are concerned with the marriage, my dear friends. And we also have the right to inheritance of property. It has come after 1979, the 1970s. Like they said that even the girl also has the right in the ancestral property, equal share in the property on par with the male child, my dear friends. And they also have the right for adoption, for divorce, and also to impose monogamy. Like if the boy says, I want to have multiple wives, even on that condition, the lady can also sue the husband, my dear friends, and force him to practice monogamy. In Andhra Pradesh state, um, there are certain programs which are meant for women. Let us discuss about them. During the first 5 year plan to fifth 5 year plan, the policies were initiated with the orientation of welfare programs, mainly focusing on women, adult education, improvement of skills of the poor, women, and so on. At the same time, our duty is also to provide service homes, rescue homes, and homes for the aged women so that we can take care of the people who are in need. By the year 1975, we have this integrated child development service in order to provide the nutritious health and educational support for the children, my dear friends. After 1975, there has been a change in the trust of the programs that they have brought this women's cooperation cooperatives, Andhra Pradesh Women's Cooperative, so that they can provide credit for the needy women so that they can start their own self-employment or else they can start their own entrepreneur or business, my dear friends. So their main intention was to strengthen the women financially by providing loans for the people so that they can take up some economical or financial activities. After 1979-80, there was a shift towards the development programs. Within the sixth 5 year plan, the state government has introduced skill development and training programs for the women. They have provided skill training programs like tailoring, beautician course, and so on. And the government thought that it is the responsibility of the state to enhance the skills of the individuals. They want to turn each and every individual to be a skilled labor rather than an unskilled or semi-skilled labor, my dear friends. By the seventh 5 year plan, Telugu Bala Mahila Pragati Pranganam was established in order to provide training, post-training placements, and credit, and as well as market linkages. If you're going to simply provide the skill, if you're going to provide the loans, okay, well and fine, they can establish the units, they can work, but they don't know how to market their products. For that reason, the AP in the AP state, we have Maitri Sangalu, and they also have started this Maitri places like where the people can sell their finished products, my dear friends. On the highways, and near here and there, the state government has created the markets where people can come and sell their products maybe daily or in the weekly markets, my dear friends. In pursuance of the central government policy of expanding technical training facilities for women to provide greater employment opportunities, industrial training institutions which are meant for women has been opened across the state during the seventh 5 year plan, my dear friends, so that all the women can come up and take up the training programs and start the business of their own. Now, let us discuss about women's education and empowerment of women. Remember, education plays a vital role in shaping up the personality of the individuals. It gives the strength, it gives the courage for the people to stand on their own and also take up or initiate any activity of their choice, my dear friends. An illiterate person will be ignorant and they may not be in a position to stand and do the activities on their own. So, for this, we require the political participation because the patriarchal system they may not understand the issues of the women. So, we require the voice to be heard, the kind hearts to listen to the voice of the woman. So we require political participation. For that, my dear friends, remember we require proper education. If we see the participation of women in the first Lok Sabha elections, out of total 499 seats, only 22 women have been represented in the Lok Sabha. And the percentage was only 4.4%. By the time we have second Lok Sabha elections, out of 500 people, 500 representatives, only 27 women have been elected for Lok Sabha. By the third Lok Sabha, only 34, and by the eighth Lok Sabha, my dear friends, out of 544 seats, only 44 women have been represented for the women. Right now, we can see that by the next election, 1/3 of reservations will be implemented because the bill has been already passed in the Lok Sabha in the previous sessions, my dear friends. So we require more people's participation so that we can ensure that we are going to have more schemes, more policies which are meant for women for their empowerment. Let us see some of the obstacles for political empowerment of women. The first one is illiteracy and low education levels of women, my dear friends. This has resulted in the lack of information, knowledge, and exposure. So our duty is to enhance the education levels of the individuals, enhance the free flow of information to the women, and also ensure that people have knowledge about their rights, about the provisions which are meant for the women, and also the opportunities which are waiting for them. If they do not have the knowledge or the information, he or she may not be able to utilize it. So the first obstacle was illiteracy and low education levels of the women. The second one is prevailing socio-economical and cultural constraints because of social and economical conditions. They are not in a position to come forward and they're not in a position to utilize the opportunities provided for them because of fear or because of the social conditions. I'll give one example which happened during 70s. Like a girl, it was there was also a movie on this bandit queen Pulan Devi. She was a Dalit. One fine day, all the wells have been dried up in her community, and all the people were suffering. And this lady took the courage, took the pot, and dared enough to walk into the village because there is a well in which water was there. She said that I will bring the water and I'm going to address your thirst. And when the lady went into the village and when she was drawing the water from the well, the people saw this Dalit girl came into the village. And all the people started cursing the lady. And they said that because the Dalit lady has touched the well, both the well and the water in the well have been polluted. And you know how they have punished this lady? They made the girl naked and they made the girl to have the pot filled with water on her head and they made the girl to walk across the village the whole day. And by the end of the day, the so-called jamindars or the people who were there, the rich dominant caste people, they have exploited the girl. And this lady got sick of the traditions or the customs and she has joined the bandit gang and she started looting the people and distributing the money to the poor people. And in this process, she has killed all the people who raped this lady. And later on, the government has requested the lady to surrender, and along with the gang, my dear friends, this lady has surrendered, and later on she has contested and she has become a political leader, but later on she has been killed by someone. During 1970s, if this was the scenario, imagine what would be the condition long back. Even now, in some parts of the country, my dear friends, even now, Dalits and women are ill treated, my dear friends, ill treated. So, because of the prevailing socio-economical conditions and cultural constraints, my dear friends, we can also see a lot of discrimination. Or even though women are educated, they are not in a position to utilize the opportunities. The third one is their backward consciousness. People think that it's not my cup of tea. The dominant caste or the upper caste people, it's their duty to rule the state. It's their role to be a political leader or politician, and it's not our cup of tea. That kind of consciousness or understanding is also dragging the people backward, my dear friends. The next one is lack of political interest in public issues. Some people, they are concerned only about their family, about their children, and they are least bothered. They think that it's a dirt, and what is the need for us to enter into the dirt? And we cannot, when we cannot change the society, what is the need for us to enter into politics? Even this kind of backward consciousness is also dragging the people backward. And the next one is lack of subordinate position of women in society. The male says that it's the male's activity. You are subordinate to us. For example, if we see in Telangana, in Mother and Child Welfare Department, we have positions like CDPO, Child Development Project Officer, Assistant Child Development Project Officer. Earlier, these posts were meant for both the gender, like boys and girls. But almost 2 decades, like almost 1.5 2 decades back, do you know what they have done? They have limited these jobs only for female. Do you know why? Because sometimes my wife do not feel comfortable to share her health issues with me. She will simply call her mother, or if required, she goes to my mom and shares her issues with my mother or her mother. And think, if I'm going to be a CDPO, Child Development Project Officer, I go with the scheme or with the policies which are meant for women. Will I be able to go to a girl, and do you think that the girl is going to share that information with me? Damn sure no. But if you go and see in some parts of the country, my dear friends, even now in this mother and child welfare department, only men are working, not the female. That means if you want to effectively implement the policies, you also need to see who has to be on the chair for that particular positions, my dear friends. People, women will not be able to come to the strangers and talk about their health issues, my dear friends. So here, what is our duty, beta? Sometimes the society thinks that woman is subordinate to the male, and they do not allow the woman to work, my dear friends. And the last one is existing political culture, which is dominant by money. Because you can see a lot of people are investing a lot of money. It has become a costly affair. And the poor, the socially backward and economically backward people will not have required finances in order to invest and contest and win the politics, my dear friends. So these are the main constraints which are dragging the women from taking active part in politics. Now let us see about women's education, which is the prerequisite for political empowerment of women. The main drawback of women is women's illiteracy or female illiteracy and low education levels of the women. Because being a patriarchal society, the male were educated and the girls were ill treated, my dear friends. A review of women's education in India gave us a poor status of women's education since ages. If we see during the Vedic period, my dear friends, even from the Vedic period, the economical and educational status of women is very low. Even the women, in some areas, the women held equal position on par with the men during the Vedic period. Girls and boys were required to undergo Upanayana ceremony. If any person wants to learn or acquire knowledge, both the men and women were supposed to undergo Upanayana process or ceremony, which will allow them to learn the Vedic literature, my dear friends. There were separate schools, both for the male as well as for the female. Atharva Veda asserted that the success of the woman in her married life depends upon the conditions during her brahmacharya. Some of the endowed Vedic women are Lobamudra, Maitreyi, Nivana, and so on. During this period, the girl's marriage age was 12 to 16 years. It was after the completion of her education. Having educated Rig Vedic women had a voice in the selection of their husbands. If women are educated, then they have the right in terms of selecting the husband, my dear friends. In Vedas, there is no mention of the practice of sati system. Thus, the status of women during the Vedic period was comparatively higher compared with the rest of the societies. But due to social changes which took place after 100 to 300 BC, led to the degradation of status of women, my dear friends. The discontinuation of Upanayana, the neglect of education, and the lowering of marriage of the age of the woman, and so on, has degraded the status of the woman, my dear friends. So during the Britishers' time, they tried to, to improve the social economical condition of the women. They have banned the sati system. They have they have brought the act for stopping child marriages. They encourage widow marriages and so on, my dear friends. In the post-independent period, my dear friends, the government has initiated the measures to address the issues or the problems of women. They have started providing opportunities for education, for employment in all the fields, my dear friends. So, if you see during all the 5 year plans, um, a constructive effort was taken up by the government in order to strengthen the educational system and also improve the literacy level among the women. If you see during the year 1951, um, if we see the literacy levels, the total, if we see the percentage was 18.33%, of which the male literates were 27.16%, whereas the female literates were only 8.86. By the year 1991, we can see that 52% of the Indian population were literates, of which 64.20% of them are male, whereas only 39.19% of them are female literates, my dear friends. So we require a long way to go on, my dear friends, in order to strengthen it. Right now, we can see some of the women are being educated, they are doing their masters, but after the marriage, they are discontinuing the job, or else because of the pressure, or in the they want to take care of the children or family and so on. It may not be all the time by pressure, but it may be the love and affection towards the family. They are discontinuing for the job and they are taking care of the family life. So now let us discuss the role of women in local governments with the uh, report submitted, a step towards equality. We require participatory development through group organization, and which has been successfully attempted in several innovative projects which were carried out by women organization. It is a significant contribution of the voluntary organizations, demonstrating the effectiveness of participatory development as a process of empowering women. We can see that Dhaka groups, it was a women's organization which was meant to improve the financial condition of the women. The same way, if you see in Adilabad, my dear friends, some of the women have formed a group and they have went to the district collector and they said that please provided certain land so that we will go for social foresting. The collector was elected because Adilabad itself is a forest like. and these ladies are talking about piece of land where they want to go for social forest. So they have formed the name organization like Vana Samrakshana Samitis, Vana Samrakshana Samitis. And at last, the district collector has given a piece of land for the women so that they can go for its permits. At the initial stage, do you know what they have done? They have gone for two types of cultivation. One is they it takes long term, and the other one is short term crops like tomatoes, vegetables, all the things which can directly come where they can sell it or they can consume it. And they also have gone for long term crops like plantation, like having Goa plantation, mango plantation, and so on. And within a span of 3 years, the VSS have been very, very successful in generating the money, improving their financial condition. And right now, this VSS is doing a lot of miracles in terms of social forestry, my dear friends. Even you must have seen Lidget Papad. It has become very, very famous during 90s, my dear friends. The women, after their household activity, they came together, pulled up the money, and they used to make papad, and they have created a brand, Lidget Papad, and they started selling it across the country, my dear friends. So where people are going to come together, and if all the people are going to work in collaboration, remember that they can do miracles. You can also see that in terms of farming in Tamil Nadu, especially there's a Dan Foundation encourage the people for going for milk. They have gone for white revolution, and you can see the miracles, my dear friends. So we can empower the women through participatory development, my dear friends. So in this, we are going to take them, we are going to make them, motivate them in order to take the decisions on their own. Hence, participation of women in Panchayat Raj institutions has been considered and is being considered as the most effective instrument in order to bring equality of gender and in order to improve the economical conditions and provide social justice for women, my dear friends. One of the most important achievement of Panchayat Raj system is that it increased the consciousness of the people, especially among women, about their rights, about their voting rights, both at the grassroots level and at the national level. And it also motivated the people to take active role in politics. If required, they can also take active role and contest in politics and also being elected as the serpent and so on, my dear friends. The committee on Panchayat Raj has also recommended for reservation of women for 1/3 in the local body elections. And recently, we can also see that it may be applicable 1/3 of reservation for women even in the parliament elections or Lok Sabha elections, my dear friends. Now, let us see the role of women's movement and organizations in political empowerment of women. The women's movement have been profound and powerful agent of empowerment for highlighting women's issues, for politicizing women, and in many other cases. Recently, you must have seen a Me Too movement across the world. Me Too movement across the world. A lady has been harassed at the workplace, and the lady came forward and said that I'm being harassed at the workplace or at so and so place. And once the lady came forward, and the rest of the girls who were also being harassed, maybe at the workplace, on the streets, or at home, they came on the streets saying that me too, I'm also being facing the same problem, and this movement has been spread across the world, my dear friends, forcing the United Nations to think about the safety and security of women across the globe, my dear friends. And some of the governments came forward and they tried to relax some of the norms which were very, very rigid. If you see in some of the Arab countries, women are not allowed to go uh, all alone. They are not supposed to drive the vehicle. But after this Me Too movement and some other movements, my dear friends, we can see in some of the Arab countries, these stringent laws are being relaxed, my dear friends. These stringent laws are being relaxed, my dear friends. You must have also seen some of the women, because a lady did not put on the hijab, the lady was killed. And most of the women across the globe came forward saying that we don't want to put on the hijab, and you can also see a movement on this. So women are taking active role in various movements, my dear friends, which is going to bring awareness among the individuals and which is going to strengthen the morale of the people. And even when Nirbhaya was raped in Delhi, and when she was in hospital, not only the women, even the men came onto the streets and they prayed for her life, and they also built up the pressure on the government to punish the people. At the time, the government of India was forced to bring an ordinance, and later on, Nirbhaya Act came into existence. And just because of this Nirbhaya Act and Nirbhaya case, my dear friends, there is also a change. There is also modifications or amendment in the Juvenile Act. Before that, if any child who is of age of one day less than attaining 18 years of age, and if he has committed rape, he or she, that person will be prosecuted on par with the Juvenile Delinquent Acts only. He or she will not be treated as a male. After this Nirbhaya case, they said that if any boy or girl who has attained 16 years of age, and if they have done a heinous crime, then he or she will also be prosecuted on par with the adults, my dear friend. And they can also be punished on par with the adult people. That is the change which has been brought just because of the social movement which took place in Indian society. So there are plenty of cultures, there are plenty diverse cultures, diverse customs, and so on. And in order to bring the changes in all these customs, where we require certain measures to be taken up. So with the role of these movements and with the help of the voluntary organizations, we try to sensitize the gender, we try to bring awareness among the women on their rights and so on, and we also change the women's perception, thinking that they are not inferior. They are not inferior, but they are also equal to the men, and they can take up the jobs whatever a male can also do. And they also talked about మేడం క్లాస్లో ఉన్నా మళ్ళీ కాల్ చేస్తాను Okay. They talked about women to get education, awareness, knowledge, and skills for economic, social, and political empowerment. Women are aware of their needs right now and also development. But because of lack of proper leadership and because of lack of dynamic clubs with culturally imposed constraints have made women fearful rather than taking active part in the or public affairs or politics, my dear friends. So we require, our duty is to bring them out of these stereotypes and motivate them to be a part. So there are certain voluntary organizations which are playing a vital role in bringing the change in the society along with the government programs, my dear friends. Like we have integrated rural development program, training of rural youth in self-employment, PRISM, development of women and children in rural areas, doctor groups, integrated child development programs, ICDS, and so on. There are plenty of government programs. But besides this, there are plenty of voluntary organizations which have taken an active role in transforming the society or transforming the conditions of the women. Uh, uh, there, besides assisting them, these voluntary organizations also increase the political awareness among women, encourage them to take active role in politics, and also encourage them in making decisions. They also provided legal aid and legal education for women, and also try to rescue them whenever and wherever they are being exploited. If you see, some of the girls may be forced into prostitution. So when these girls are caught in the raid, police raid, and so on, or when they have run away, these organizations are going to protect them, provide shelter, provide legal aid and support. At the same time, they're also going to provide them training, financial support, so that they can restart their life again, my dear friends. When in the year 2005, there was a global research on male prostitution, and even in India also they have taken up the study. They have selected five metropolitan cities for this study, and Hyderabad was one. So at the time when we were doing this study on male prostitution, we have also seen that the police department, they used to do a lot of research. They used to identify the women prostitutes, or women who are into the flesh trade, and they used to educate them, and they also used to provide financial support for them so that they can start the life fresh. Likewise, I've seen a woman who started selling a vending machine nearby tank burn. She used to sell coconuts. Before that, she used to sell her flesh, but later on, because the efforts of the government and because of the efforts of the police, my dear friends, she has started that. When I interacted with the lady said that the police has given me 10,000 rupees to purchase a vending machine, a cart, and also to purchase the coconuts and sell it for making a living, my dear friends. So they are not only the volunteer organizations, they are philanthropists, various institutions, people are also putting on the efforts constantly in order to transform the condition of the women. So there are certain organizations which are providing legal aid and legal education. There are also certain organizations which are providing necessary support and training for women. If you see nearby Charminar, there is an organization called Shaheen. If you see last 1.5, 2 decades, like you must have seen some of the sheikhs coming to Hyderabad and marrying the young girls, and after some time, they are leaving back to their respective countries from where they are simply giving divorce to the ladies. And these ladies, now the husband has divorced, they have children, they don't know how to take care of them. So some of the philanthropists who belong to the Muslim community came forward and started an organization called Shaheen, and they started providing training for the victims. They started providing employment for the people, and they also started providing educational programs, my dear friends. So there are plenty of organizations which are doing not only for a particular community but for all sections of people. And if you go nearby Shali Banda, there you'll find an organization called Boys Town. Here they are going to provide free education for the people, for the orphans, and along with the orphans they are also going to provide education for the other people with a nominal fee. So the fee which was collected from the other students can be used for providing hostel facility, for providing accommodation, food, providing clothes, books, as well as free education for them. And they're also running um, garage where they are going to manufacture the products. If any child has completed 10th, they are going to provide the training there, and they are going to manufacture the products. They have tie up with nearly 60 or 70 industries where they are going to supply the spare parts for the company. And after the people are trained for 2 years, are working for 2 years, they are going to conduct a ITI examination, and they are going to get ITI certificate, Industrial Training Institute certificate. And this certificate is going to help them to get a job in the larger or bigger industries, my dear friends. And most of the people who are trained in that organization at Boys Town are being placed at larger, bigger industries too, my dear friends. This way, Boys Town is working for the poor and destitute. Okay, so there are plenty of organizations which are providing training not only for women, even for all the people, my dear friends, as per the requirements. And we are also going to educate women, because 1/3 of reservations of women in local governance is for women. So in order to take part in politics, our main duty is to empower them politically. So we train them with the training program, and even once the people are elected, NIRD, National Institute of Rural Development, and other institutions are also going to train them, like what kind of activities they are supposed to take care, how to use the funds and spend the funds, how to mobilize the funds, on all these issues. They are going to train them, my dear friends. And the main duty is to implement the policies being implemented by the government. So this way, there are plenty of organizations which are working. According to Search, SEARCH, a voluntary organization which is involved in rural development in Karnataka, um, they have training strategies which are meant to empower the women The first one is creation of space for women so that they can come, organize themselves into smaller groups, and they can talk about their issues, everything. So they have formed women sanghas, women organizations. They call it as women sanghas. Okay. Then next one is mobilization. The main duty is to educate the people, mobilize the resources, and help the people who are below poverty line, who are not having employment, who are facing the problem of low wages, scarcity of drinking water, drunken behavior of their husbands, and so on. If you see near Warangal, in rural Warangal district, you'll find Ganga Devapalli. It is selected as one of the model villages across the country. In that village, my dear friends, they did not wait for the government, but they themselves has formed the groups. There are plenty of nearly 70 to 18 committees, and each and every committee is given with a task or with a responsibility. For example, in order to ensure that all the children attend the school or go to the school, there is a committee, and there are boards, not a board in individual house, but there are two boards for the entire village, and this is going to provide the board water for all the houses in order to ensure that water supply takes place smoothly. For that, there is a committee. So obviously there will be wastage of water. In order to ensure that there is no wastage of water, again there is a committee. And in order to recharge the water bodies, they expected that each and every house need to have a rain harvesting pit so that the water bodies can be recharged. For that, there is a committee. In order to ensure that each and every person use the toilets at home, they don't go for open defecation. For that, there is a committee. In order to ensure that the roads are neatly maintained, for that there is a committee. In order to ensure that the drainages are clean, for that there is a committee. In order to they have banned selling alcohol in the village. If anybody, they are free, they can purchase from the nearby village, they can consume it. But if anybody consumes alcohol and creates nuisance, for that there is a committee. Likewise, there are nearly 17 to 18 committees in the village, and 80% of the villagers, including women, are going to be are the part of these committees, my dear friends. The same way in the organization named Search also try to mobilize the resources, my dear friends, in order to provide the benefits for them. Then they also encourage social leader, because for 20 members there is a leader. This leader is going to initiate, mobilize all 20 people. So she's going to develop leadership qualities, my dear friends. Then, because they are going to work together, they are going to save the money. It is also going to make them independent, especially economically independent. Doctor groups made the women to be independent, because whatever the money they have, maybe 1 rupee, 10 rupee, 100 rupees, based on their capacity, they are going to form the groups and they are going to save it. And wherever it is required, they are going to take the loan and they are going to satisfy the requirements. So the husbands used to come when we have gone for the study. The husbands used to come to the lady and say, yeah, please go and bring some money from the Dakra groups. Before that, the lady did not have the respect. Right now, the husband goes to the lady and says that you go and bring the money from the Dakra groups, because lending the money from the outsider, it may be of 1% to 10%, depending on the condition. Whereas getting the loan from the Dakra group is only 0.25 paisa on very. So he also started giving respect to the better half, my dear friends. And if the husband says, I don't have the money, financial capacity to further educate the girl child, I want to simply perform, because the lady has a financial freedom, she may simply stop the decision of the husband and also influence the decision of the husband. Then we also have women's personal autonomy. We have also seen the participation of women in the politics, my dear friends, because of the role of this search organization. Because people came together, they understood their problems, they have mobilized the people together, and this has helped them to strengthen themselves, empower themselves, and come and take active role in politics. This way, they try to come into the mainstream, my dear friends. So we require proper training in all the arena so that the women can come out of the traditional culture or restrictions or stereotypes, and they can contribute to the growth of the family as well as to the growth of the nation, my dear friends, to the growth of the nation. If women are properly trained, properly educated, not only a girl is educated, the entire family is educated. Wherever there is education, remember, there will not be ignorance. There will not be blind faith. People will take the right decisions on time, and they will also take up the activities which will strengthen the financial condition of the family, indirectly strengthen the economy of the nation, my dear friends. I'll give one example about blind faith. One of my friend, when we are doing 10 plus 1 of my friend, during the summer vacation, he got married, and we are very very happy for him, because by the age of 16 he has become the husband, and we are very happy by the time we are in second year, into second year, and before when we are going to write the exam, like we are very happy, we came to know that his lady is pregnant. That means within no time he is going to become a father by the age of 17 or 18 years. Remember, it was a child marriage. I'm talking about 1996, 97, those times. Okay. Even at the time, the age for boy and girl to go for marriage was 18 and 21. But in spite of that, that marriage took place. And now, when the lady was pregnant, she used to face the problem. It seems she could not sleep during the night times. She used to cry. It seems so. One fine day, this fellow, my friend, has taken the lady to the hospital, and in the hospital they have done the test, and they found they could not trace any problem. Later on, my friend, he was orthodox. He used to believe in God. Nothing wrong in that. I don't want to take his name, nothing like, but he has taken his lady to the religious place where the priest used to perform all the ritual part, and he used to say that, don't worry, I have conveyed the problem to the God, and the God is going to address all your issues. You drink this water, you do this, all this puja puraskar, and they said that your problem will be solved. And as the months are being passed on, the problem has become very very critical, and the lady used to scream like anything, it seems, and the neighbors could not see the pain of the lady, it seems. And when the husband was not at home, they went and they took the number, contact number of the parents, and they called the in-laws, and in-laws came to take the lady, to take their daughter for delivery. And at the time, the husband said, okay, let me take my wife to the religious place. And again they have taken to the religious place before going to the hospital. And there the priest said, don't worry, I've conveyed the message, I've done all the ritual part, don't worry, the mother and the child will be at peace, don't worry, all the problems will be addressed. And later on, the lady has been taken to the hospital, and the doctors were doing all the diagnosis part, and they could not find anything. At last, they thought that let us do jaundice test. But in jaundice, we can see the eyes color will be turning into yellow color, all these things. But we also have white jaundice. At last, when they have done the diagnosis part, they came to know it was white jaundice, and the lady was in final stage. And as the priest has said that the mother and the child will rest at peace, both the mother and the twin child have rested in the grave for at peace forever and ever, my dear friends. Instead of going to the hospital, my friend must have taken his wife to the better hospital for diagnosis part and for treatment. But that was not happened. And at last, my dear friend, the lady has been put to death. So remember, education is the source by which we can enlighten the people, empower them to take part in each and every part of the arena. By this, we'll conclude the lesson, my dear friends. Have a nice day. If you have any doubts, you are free to ask. Or else we'll conclude for the day and we'll continue tomorrow.